I'll be sharing with you the details on L2 visa and what all generic questions are there on top of everyone's mind. And today, I'll briefly talk about each and every point, like how you can apply for L2 visa and how what is L2 visa, how is it different from the different visas that we already have, then how you can, whether or not you are eligible to work in L2 visa. So all these things we'll be talking about in this video. Now, starting with the first things first, like what is L2 visa? So, L2 visa is nothing but it is a visa which is given to the dependents of L1 visa holder, a person who is already living in US. Now, who are the dependents? So, dependents are the spouse and the children who are below the 18 years of age. They both are applicable for for filing the L2 visa. So anyone who is the dependent of L1 visa can file for an L2 visa, and this is what is called as a L2 visa. Now, if we talk about like what are the difference between the two visas, like what is the difference between an L1 visa and L2 visa. So yeah, the first thing is that if like your company, you are working for a particular company in India and that company gives you a transfer from India to the same company in US, then company will be applying an L1 visa for you and you will be going to US on behalf of that L1 visa. But if you are applying as a dependent of L1 visa, then you will be applying for then you will be eligible to apply for an L2 visa, and this is how they are different in terms of their application, like how you're applying for it and who is applying for you. So that's the first point. The second point is for L1 visa, like for both of them, the general tenure is of 3 years. But if we talk about L1 visa, it is also dependent. Suppose you get a better opportunity in India and you want to quit your job in US and you want to move to India before completing that tenure of 3 years. Then in that case, what you'll do, you have to terminate your job in US, you have to move to India to a different company, and then your tenure of 3 years will be instead of completing the whole complete tenure of 3 years, you are moving in a lesser duration, suppose 1 year or 2 year. So in that case, the L2 visa or the dependent, the person who has gone to US as a dependent will also have to quit his or her job in US and will also have to accompany the L1 visa holder. So yes, your duration is dependent on L1 visa holder, and you have to L2 visa holder, the tenure is dependent on L1 visa holder, and his visa is only applicable until and unless the L1 visa holder is applicable. So that is the second point. Coming for the third point, whether or not you can switch your jobs. So if you are working in an L1 visa, then you are tied to one particular company and you cannot switch your job. So you have to work for the same company and you cannot switch your job if you are under L1 visa. But the same thing does not apply if you are you have filed for an L2 visa, which means you are eligible to apply for any job. You can work for any company, you can work for any kind of job, and you're free to switch your jobs. You are not strictly tied to one company, but you are free to apply and to work for any company of your own choice. So yeah, these things are very important, and these things makes they makes the basic forms or the basic differences between an L1 and an L2 visa holder. Now coming to how you can apply for the L2 visa. So for that, for any kind of visa, if you want to apply, the first step is filling a DS-160 form. And in order to fill a DS-160 form for an L2 visa, I have already made a video on that, and I will provide a link in the description box. You can go and check that video out. So it contains the details of how you can fill an L2 visa, and in a great detail, and you will be able to understand each and every step. So everything is discussed in detail. And if you have any questions, then you can feel free to ask questions in the comment box, and I will answer them. So yeah, that is about the application process. Coming to the whole what is the entire process. So first you have to fill a DS-160 form. Once it's done, you have to submit that form, and you have to give a fees of around $190, which rounds to about 16,000 INR. Once you have deposited that fees, you will be eligible to choose or to book an appointment. Now basically this appointment is for two things. One, like you have to undergo two set of things. So first is the biometric, second is the consulate interview, and for that like you have to book an appointments. So generally for India there are five centers where you can choose an appointment or book an appointment for. Like we have Delhi, Kolkata, Mumbai, Hyderabad and Chennai. So these are the five centers. You can choose from any center of your choice. Like you can choose from any center, and you can choose a date and time, and you can book an appointment. So like once that is done, you are like the next step is to go for a biometric. Okay, so coming to biometric, like what happens in that particular thing. So biometric, for this you have to two important documents you have to carry with yourself along with some other. So every like detail of the documents also I will provide in the link, and you can go check that link out for the documents that will be required for you, that you have to carry with you when you are going for a biometric and for the consulate interviews. But the two major documents that are required is first your DS 160 form, and the second one is the appointment confirmation letter. So appointment confirmation letter of the center where you have booked your appointment for. So these two documents you have to carry with you for a biometric, and that process is it will not take much time. It will just take 1 or 2 minutes for you to complete. So yeah, that depends on the rush in that particular center, but yes, for you it will take only 2 minutes. So what happens in that biometric is that your photograph will be taken along with your signature, along with your fingerprints. So these two things will be taken and you're done with your biometric. The third is the now remains the third and last step of your entire process, and that is a consulate interview. So what is a consulate interview? Now this is the end of the whole process, and this is a very important, and it determines whether you get an L2 visa or not. So in that in consulate interview you have to prepare a file of the documents, and these documents are they should be such that they establish a relationship between if you are married to the person, and if you are your marriage certificates, your marriage photos and everything. So yeah, you have to carry a lot many documents than what you have carried in a biometric. So you have to prepare a file for it, and I will just provide the link of the documents which are required. Then you have to go and you have to face an immigrant official over there. Now that official will ask you a few set of questions. So what kind of questions he'll ask you is basically why you want to go to US, with your spouse, where he lives in US, where he works, in which company he works for, whether you will also be working or applying for job in US. So these kind of questions, very generic questions, will be asked to you, and these are not difficult at all. The process will not be difficult at all, and the questions will also be not difficult. It will just to for them to know that okay, you are going and you're going to meet this and so person, but where he exactly lives, everything will be asked in brief, so you don't have to worry about anything, but just you have to prepare a few set of questions, and mostly they are available in Quora such sites, but I will provide the site details also where you can go and check those questions out. So yeah, that will be helpful for you. And once you are done, what they will just take your passport, and they'll ask you to wait for around a week or 10 days, and they'll mail your passport to your mailing address. So this mailing address will be asked to you once you are booking an appointment. At that time you have to provide a mailing address where your passport will be mailed to you with the visa stamp on it. So yeah, so once the visa is stamped on your passport, they'll mail your passport to that particular mailing address. So be very careful while you're supplying your this mailing address, because that is very important. Yeah, and this is the whole procedure of what is L2 visa and whether you can apply for job or not. So yes, the most important question again comes that whether you are eligible to work in an L2 visa or not. So the answer is yes, you can work for any kind of a job that you want, and in any company you want. You can switch as many times as you want. So again, that is a very big yes for the job you can work. If you want to have you want to know anything about how you can apply for jobs, how you can basically reach out to people, I'll provide, or I'll make a separate video on that about job searching, and what all jobs you're eligible for, how you can basically apply for those jobs, how you can reach out to people. So I will just make a separate video on that. But if you also have any questions on top of your mind regarding US or regarding the visa procedure, do let me know, and I'll just be very obliged to answer you in the comment section below. So yeah, do let me know if you have any questions. Until then, take care. Bye bye.